Okay, so hello everybody and thank you for joining us today for our Adobe Creative Cloud webinar. We've got Luke here from Byte Software Services and Iona here from Adobe as well. So just a few things before the webinar, just a couple of housekeeping details for you. During the webinar you will all be muted, but there is a questions box which you should be able to see on the left hand side of your screen. If you do have any questions at any point during the webinar, please do just pop your questions in there, and there will be a question and answer session at the end, so we will go through and obviously try and answer as many of those questions as we can within the webinar. If there are a lot of questions during the webinar and we don't have time, then we will make sure that they are all answered after the webinar as well. The webinar is recorded and we will make this available to you once it's completed. We'll send you a link to that so that you can obviously watch that back or pass it on to any other members of staff that you think it may be of interest to. And finally, once you've finished with the webinar and left, there will be a little critique form that will pop up. If you could please fill that in, then that would be brilliant. Obviously, all feedback that we get from you is greatly appreciated. And there is also the opportunity there that if you would like to request a callback from our Bytes specialist here, if you just let us know there, then we will make sure that someone does get in touch with you and can obviously give you a quick call back and answer any further questions that you may have. So I'm now going to pass over to Iona from Adobe.
Hello everybody, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Iona Walters, a Senior Solutions Consultant at Adobe, and I'm here today to give you an overview of what the Creative Cloud has to offer and also to share with you the reasons why Adobe has moved its digital media business in this direction. You need to be able to create and interact whilst on the move. And moving between different computers and devices means that asset management, inconsistent user environments and settings are an issue. We know that teams are no longer confined to one office, and effective collaboration at a distance is also a real challenge. Creatives such as yourselves have had to come up with combinations of apps and services from all different sources to try and overcome these workflow challenges because there just hasn't been a connected solution until now. And the solution that Adobe is bringing you is the Creative Cloud, where all of these things come together in one place, as well as connecting you to all the benefits of being a part of a wider creative community. Just under a year ago, we launched the first phase of the Creative Cloud, which provided Adobe's full suite of creative applications as a subscription. But more importantly, we launched Creative Cloud as a platform for innovation. One of the core benefits of the Creative Cloud is that you're always getting something new. You no longer need to wait to get access to new features, products or services. This was part of the promise of the Creative Cloud from the very beginning, and Adobe definitely delivered on that promise. So if you take a look at all of these things that we added to the Creative Cloud in the first year, we actually added or updated something every single week. So the pace of innovation is really quite staggering. The first year has been more successful than we could have imagined, with over 500,000 paid members and counting, and well over 2 million members in total, which includes the ones who are collaborating on files and projects with a free membership. Customers love it so much because they get access to tools and services they never had before, and they get the newest version of those products as soon as it's ready. They can take their creativity in new directions, learn new skills, and build their careers and businesses. It's actually only been a year since our last major desktop apps release, which was CSync. With the release of the Creative Cloud, these have all now been branded CC to reflect their new, more connected form. So the cloud brings you 15 brand new applications, and they have hundreds of new and updated features. But it's not just about the apps, of course, as I've mentioned. You also need to be able to access your assets wherever you are. Cloud enables you to do this. You can also choose to synchronize these files with your desktop or offline environment. And in addition, you can sync your application settings and move seamlessly from machine to machine, be that keyboard shortcuts, workspaces, swatches, brushes, web fonts. So the environment you're used to working in moves with you and you can quickly pick up from where you left off. The Creative Cloud also allows you to collaborate with customers or colleagues, so you can share files, you can add comments to these files, and clients can even preview the layers and pages within a document whilst it's still in its native format. For example, a PSD or an InDesign document without having the application installed on their machine. This means that your work can remain dynamic, editable, with no extra exporting, and your teams and clients can be sure to have access to the most up-to-date material with a clear, built-in, streamlined sign-off and communication workflow. And with versioning control, you can manage and access previous versions of these documents. You can even see and track comments on versions in your CC app activity stream. The Creative Cloud also enables you to join a wider creative community to get inspiration as well as feedback on work in progress. You can showcase your own personal portfolio with Adobe Behance to build your community, share and receive feedback, as well as to sell your work. Behance also enables you to easily promote your project via popular social media channels such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. And in addition, you can maximize your profile using the powerful website building service ProSite, which comes as part of your Creative Cloud membership. You can customize the ProSite template. You can attach a personal URL if you have one. You can use creative web fonts served by Typekit. You can add projects from Behance or directly from some of your Adobe desktop applications. And you can upload or embed video content. And the cost of ProSite without being a member of the Creative Cloud would actually be $99 a year. So you can really see this as a massive value-added service to your membership. The Creative Cloud also enables you to build and publish websites, mobile sites, and of course iPad apps by using the desktop tools in conjunction with Business Catalyst and also the digital publishing suite. So now you can easily reach your audience on all the platforms you like to in an optimized and responsive way. So now let's take a look at the Creative Cloud app, which is your portal to all of these creative applications. The CC app will be automatically installed with any of the new CC desktop apps, and it's integrated with them and the Creative Cloud services. So within here, you can see now I've got a whole load of different feeds coming in. I've got my home screen, which really gives me all of the latest information about what I've been doing, my activities, etc. You can see up on the top here, I've got a little prompt as well, which is telling me that I've got some updates to consider accepting, and also that somebody, my colleague here, Richard, has shared a folder with me so that we can collaborate. Again, from here I can access all of my applications, do all of the updates that I need to do, and of course from this Files tab I can choose to open my folder which I've got synced locally on my desktop, or I can go straight to the creativecloud.com and view the folder structure and files online in that space. But the other great thing that you can now do as part of the cloud is to access, browse and synchronize your fonts, some of your fonts from the Typekit server to the desktop. If I just launch the fonts browser now, this is taking me straight to Typekit. And you can see now I've got all of these fonts that I could browse previously for my web application, but now I've also got the ability to browse the desktop syncable fonts as well. So this means that any of these fonts that appear once this is selected are able to be synchronized with my desktop and therefore available in any of my creative products to work with, for example, InDesign or Illustrator or Photoshop. So I can really, really make sure I'm keeping that brand consistency across all of my different outputs. So that's Typekit, and that's really great. You can create your web Typekits as well as usual within there. If I just jump back into my Creative Cloud desktop area, you can see that these are the fonts that I've already synced. I can also manage my fonts from this area as well. Over here I've got my Behance tab, which gives an activity stream of all the people that I'm watching, all of the work that I'm appreciating, etc., from the wider design community. I can also take a look at any work that I've uploaded to get feedback on, etc., and I can browse new work from within here as well. I can view my profile and I can upload projects, etc. I've got the ability within here as well to turn the file and font sync off. So as I mentioned, not only are you able to synchronize your fonts, synchronize your files, collaborate via the cloud, you've now got a really fantastic new feature to help you manage your color profiles and make sure that you can access those wherever you are on whichever device it is that you may be working. So I'm just going to now jump in to this Cooler app for the iPhone. The camera on the phone is taking a look at all of the colours in the background, which is very colourful since the Creative Cloud background is right there, so that's great. And what I can do then is if I'm out and about on the move and I see some colours, for example, in some flowers or in a sunset or, you know, something out in the street that I want to capture, I can easily do that. I just click on this little accept button here, so let's accept that. This is called theme number 11. What I can do now is if we jump back over to cooler.com, you'll see that theme number 11 has now very handily jumped in for me. I'm able to also work with it within this area. Now, in the old days, you would be able to download, which you can still do, a file exchange format, a color swatch format, so that you can then import this into your design applications, for example, Photoshop and Illustrator, and work with these colors, which of course is great. But no longer is that step needed, because if I jump over into Adobe Illustrator and take a look here, I've got my new Cooler panel, and this is fully integrated now with the Cooler.com interface. So I've got all of my existing palettes that are there. I'm just going to refresh this, and there we go, theme 11. Just jump straight in here via the Creative Cloud, so it's syncing through my cloud workspace there. So all I have to do is make sure that I'm logged on, make sure that my phone is signed in as well to my Adobe.com account, and this will all happen very seamlessly. Brilliant. So of course I can then start working with these colours, I can add them to my swatches, and of course the other thing is I can now jump over into my preferences and I can sync my settings. I can choose all of the different elements that I want to sync. And what this will mean is that this again syncs by the Creative Cloud, and then when I come to open on my secondary machine, which may be my desktop machine in a different environment, when I come to open up Illustrator, it can prompt me and ask me if I want to have my preferences imported in from the cloud so that I'm set up and working in this environment, so I have all of my brushes, all of my palettes ready to go for me in the same environment that I was previously working. Okay, let's take a look now at the online interface. So I've got my browser open with my Creative Cloud folders in place. Here I've got a collaboration folder set up. That's something that's coming in future releases of the Creative Cloud, where you'll be able to share folders and collaborate and use this as a really good workflow sign-off solution. I've also got my download center where I get hold of all of my applications, all of my services, products that we've known and loved for a long time. I've got lots of new features and products in there as well, for example, Adobe News and the Edge tools and services. Now I'd just like to run through some of the myths and misconceptions around the Creative Cloud, just so that you're absolutely clear as to what the cloud offering is and how it can work for you. So you're not running the apps in a web browser. The desktop applications are downloaded and installed, running off your hard drive, just like they have always been. You don't have to be constantly connected to the internet to run your creative apps. Just once a month to verify that your membership is still active. You can share files with anyone for review or download. They don't need to be a Creative Cloud member. Your files are your files, and they remain on your hard drive even if you decide to cancel your Creative Cloud membership. You just sync them to the Creative Cloud so that you can access them from wherever you need to, and of course easily share them with other people. You're not required to install any new version of the desktop software that's available in your membership. You also have the flexibility as to when you install an upgrade if you choose to do so. You don't have to store files in the cloud, and in fact IT can actually turn this functionality off. You can still purchase CS6 if you really want a perpetual license, or you can buy a single app membership. And just also to be aware that within your CC offering, you have access to all of the CS6 applications as well, which you can run simultaneously to your CC app, so you've got total flexibility there. So that was a short peek into the Creative Cloud, which I'm sure you can see really has you and your creative work at its very center. It gives you access to creative applications, assets, settings, fonts and colors, team collaboration, community, an online portfolio, and also your published work. So which Creative Cloud offering is right for you? As you can see, there are different types of membership. the Creative Cloud for Teams includes everything that's included with the individual version of the Creative Cloud. So that's all the desktop apps, the services, the upgrades, the feature updates when they're released, plus you get 100 gigabytes of storage per user as opposed to the 20 gigabytes for the individual offering. You get expert services, which amounts to 2 sessions per user per year. You can actually schedule these one-on-one via phone or video conference with an expert who has a specific area of expertise. You can easily manage your virtual work groups so teams can collaborate efficiently, and you've got a centralized administration tool for the quick and easy deployment of new seats, as well as centralized billing and efficient license management. We're going to take a little look at the deployment and the administration tool in a second. Creative Cloud for Enterprise goes a step further by giving large organizations access to the desktop apps and updates, but also online services for content publishing, secure file sharing, and private work group collaboration. And it's all packaged up in an enterprise-friendly way, so the software and services can be easily deployed and managed in an enterprise environment, as well as deployment tools. So IT can actually design their own technology deployment to users across the organization. Of course, there are also discounts for students and teachers, as well as educational institutions, as well as discounts on your first year if you currently own CS3 through to CS 5.5, and an even deeper discount on the first year if you currently own CS6. We also now offer plans that include just one desktop app if that's what the user requires. So now let's take a look at how to manage and allocate licenses and products to your team members. The Creative Cloud Team Admin Console is an intuitive, easy-to-use portal where you can quickly add Creative Cloud seats, assign or transfer those seats to other users, and also monitor their storage. To add seats to your Creative Cloud subscription, you simply log into the Admin Console and authorize your reseller to place the order on your behalf. Once this is done, you can assign seats to your specific users. Just enter their email address, click Invite User, enter their name, and you've got the option there also to include a personal message. To save time, you can invite multiple users, and you can also have your reseller assign seats on your behalf. Once you've assigned a user, they'll receive the email invitation, and they need to accept this in order to start using the Creative Cloud. You can also easily reassign a seat to a new user if a member of the team leaves your organization or when a new team member joins. And this, of course, is particularly helpful when project teams frequently expand or decrease in size. Another key benefit is the ability to add additional admin managers to help manage the Creative Cloud subscription that you have. Admins don't count against the total number of Creative Cloud seats, but of course you can assign them a seat if required. And the final thing you can do, as I've mentioned, is to monitor your team's storage usage. Each member is allocated 100 gigabytes of cloud storage, and to track how much each member is making use of, simply monitor the bar next to their name. So that's the Admin Console. For more information about this, visit adobe.com/go/cc_teams. There's also a Creative Cloud Packager tool, and this enables you to package the applications that are needed by each member of the team and to easily deploy those. There's additional videos on my website, creativesneaks.com, if you need more details as to how this process works. You can follow me on Twitter, @CreativeSneaks, and I've also got various other ways in which you can connect via Facebook and LinkedIn, etc. So I'll be able to keep you updated as and when new videos and tutorials and features come out. So I hope you found that presentation useful. Do get in touch via Twitter if you have any questions and comments, and I hope to see you again soon. So we're going to hand back to Luke now, who's going to give you a little bit more information about the offering, and also we're going to then take questions and answers session after that. So over to you again, Luke.
Hello everyone. I just want to go through some license changes that Adobe have brought in since the cloud's become available. There's been a few questions since the cloud's become available with regards to perpetual licensing and the cloud. As you can see from the first question, Adobe doesn't plan to release any further Creative Suite software via perpetual licensing. CS6 will be the latest version, which you can still purchase through Bytes or any other also resellers, and adobe.com. Every single future innovation, every single update will become available only to Creative Cloud members. So if you do want the latest and greatest, then the cloud is the best option for you. As you can see from the next question, Adobe had feedback with regards to their software being updated and constantly becoming sort of up to date with the market, and with the cloud offering they're able to update and push releases much quicker than via perpetual licensing, so you're able to get those updates much quicker than you would with the old sort of perpetual licensing way. Adobe isn't forcing you to move to the cloud because they are keeping CS6 available for those perpetual licenses, but the advantage is if you want the updates, then you will need to move over to the cloud. Currently there's two promotions running at the minute, which will save you a huge saving on year 1 and year 2. It's actually 40%. So the standard pricing for the full suite is £53 per user per month, which works out to £638 per user per year. But at the moment, up until the end of this month, Adobe are offering the Creative Suite for £30 a user per month, which works out to be £362 a year. And if you also sign up before the 31st of August, then you'll get those seats locked in for the second year. So it's a huge saving on year 1 and year 2. Again, with the single apps, if your users only use Photoshop or Illustrator, then you can purchase a single app at the same discount and the same lock-in price. So you'll save 40% on that as well. It's a great advantage to take upon because you're saving 40%, and even if you don't need to make your whole estate move over to the cloud for now, it's worth getting a few seats on so you can test the cloud and see if it's the right thing for you. So we're just going to pass you over to some questions now. Just going to read through them.
So Luke, I can see one here which is regarding Behance from Suzanne, just asking if it's a free app or service, and yes, absolutely, it comes free with your membership, so you can upload as many projects as you like, videos, you can share with the community, and then also beyond Behance, as I mentioned, you also get the Pro Site functionality too, which is ordinarily a pay-for service, so you'd normally pay just under $100, $99 a year for that, and you get that free as well. There's lots of templates within the Pro Site area that you can then customize and choose from, and that's integrated with the Behance service, so you can upload your Behance projects directly into Pro Site. The other thing with Behance is it's integrated now into a lot of our desktop apps, so directly from Photoshop, for example, you can choose to share your work to Behance, so you don't need to kind of make any changes to the files, etc. That process will happen for you. It will be uploaded, and you've got the option to promote it via the social media channels that you want to connect with as well.
Thanks, Iona. I can see a question from Sue Drinkwater about Creative Cloud in a corporate environment with regards to users installing updates themselves rather than the IT department doing that. This is possible. There is the Creative Cloud Packager option where you can package up the software that you need for your users and deploy that to the users that need that software, and that's available for the updates as well. So the users don't have to install the updates themselves or the programs at all if that's the type of environment you're in. Yeah, this answers another question from Sarah Newton. That's the same. With regards to the question from Sunil, can you assign students a seat because their subscriptions are cheaper? If it's a student subscription, then we can the education subscription is slightly different, where it's done via a serial key rather than a personal seat. However, if you're an academic company but in a corporate environment, then you can assign a seat, and it's just done in a normal way. You just get cheaper pricing.
There's a question down here from Scott Nicholson. Can you buy groups of apps instead of the whole Creative Suite or the whole CC, e.g. web? At the moment, we are not providing groups of apps, but what you can do is you can buy single apps if you've got a user who just, for example, uses Photoshop. Or just uses InDesign, etc. At the moment, we're not doing suites of products, and one of the main reasons for that was that we had so many different SKUs going on. It was becoming quite unmanageable license-wise. And also, in terms of affordability, we are trying our very best to keep the cost of the full Creative Cloud offering as low as possible, with all of this extra value-added service as part of it. So at the moment, no, that's not something that Adobe's doing.
See a question from Lorraine Smith. What level of membership allows you to switch off saving to the cloud? I believe you mean just collaborating and saving your documents to the cloud. Every single membership allows your environment to do that, so that's completely fine. If you don't wish your users to save any documents to the cloud, you can switch that off via any membership. Another question from Paul Williams regards to using Acrobat, and is Acrobat managed in the same way, deployed in the same way, and can we still purchase it via perpetual? Acrobat hasn't on its own moved to subscription yet, so Acrobat, if you just wish to purchase Acrobat, then that is still available via perpetual licensing, and all the updates will be via perpetual licensing. However, if you have users who use creative products and Acrobat, then Acrobat also is included in the full suite of Creative Cloud. See another question, is there a minimum number of users that we have to buy to get to these prices? There's no minimum number of users with Creative Cloud for Teams, so you could take advantage of the discount now buying just one seat. So yeah, there's no minimum order. However, you just need to get those seats purchased before the end of this month to get the lock-in price for the second year and a 40% discount.
So I see a question here from Sunil regarding fonts down at the bottom. We have lots of fonts that we've used over the years, that's OT and TTF, etc. Can we use all of them via the cloud? Now, the desktop fonts that you have already, of course, you can continue to use in all of your creative applications, because the applications run on the desktop. They don't run via the cloud, and you download them, you install them on your machines, on your hard drives, just as you have them with all of your Creative Suite products. So, of course, we're not going to be restricting you from using any of the fonts that you've used before. Typekit is an additional font service which is designed specifically for creative web fonts delivery, and also now we've got this additional ability to be able to download these to your desktop. Not all of them, but the ones that we've been able to do the licensing deals with, and this will only continue to increase as time goes on. But then you'll additionally be able to use these creative web fonts in your desktop applications, so you'll be able to maintain your brand consistency across all of your platforms. So this is very needed. Font syncing is just about to come your way, and the desktop font syncing will be part of that. So any second now, you're going to have all of that extra functionality.
I got a question here from Stefan. Does the 40% discount apply to education pricing as well? Education get their own discount, so it's completely for corporate. But if you do wish to contact us for education pricing, then just give us a shout and we can go through that with you. Another question from Suzanne. How does the cloud perform in a secure client environment? That's where the Creative Cloud Packager comes in, where you're able to push and deploy the software and any updates out to users without them having access to download the software themselves. And obviously you can turn off the collaboration and cloud storage with regards to the firewall. Let me just read. Another question from Freddie. We have users on the odd occasion, once or twice a year, may require access to some Adobe products like Photoshop, as these users don't use the product regularly, so we're hesitant to purchase a license. So we currently have a shared PC, which these users are allowed to access to the software through a booking process. As Creative Cloud is user-based, can this still be done? As we explained before, Creative Cloud is licensed per user, so each individual seat is assigned to a user, and that's their license, and it's based on their name. So Adobe requires every user that's going to have access to a certain part of the software, whether it be the whole suite or a single app, they need to be purchased and they need to have a seat and license themselves.
On that note, if it is just a single app that they're needing access to, you can buy now just a Photoshop single app license. The other thing that you could do is you could revoke and reassign that seat to somebody else. So if you have somebody coming in for a couple of weeks and they're working on it and then they go, you can then reassign that seat to somebody else.
A question from Lorraine regarding revoking. There's no minimum time before you can revoke a user or reassign a subscription. Once the user has been sent an invite to join, then they need to accept it, and once they accept it, you can revoke it straight away if that's the situation you're in, so there's no minimum time period. A question from Scott Nicholson. Can you buy groups of apps instead of the whole CS suite? Currently, it's only the full suite or the single apps that you can buy. There's no sort of bundles of products like the perpetual licensing is organised at the minute. So, but you do get access to the whole of the suite if you buy the Creative Suite. But you don't need to install all of the apps if you don't need them. But to answer your question, no, there's no bundles purchases at the moment. Question from Kelly Dongan. What is happening with Acrobat and being brought into Creative Cloud? Acrobat is available in the whole full suite. It's not available for a single app purchase at the moment, and it hasn't entirely moved over to subscription. So if your users do use Creative Suite products and Acrobat at the same time, then they'll, in the full suite, they do get you access to the latest version of Acrobat. However, as I mentioned before, if you're pure Acrobat users, then you'll need to purchase your licenses via the perpetual licensing system. And that's answered Simon's question as well. Question from Rob Ludwell. Can a cloud subscription be converted to perpetual license at a later date if you decide to drop off the subscription? With the Creative Cloud for Teams, the subscription is for 1 year and you are obliged to keep that subscription for 1 year. However, if you decide at the end of the year you don't want the subscription, or you want to true down in the number of seats you have, then you're more than you are able to do that. But it cannot be converted to a perpetual license at all. However, you can run perpetual licensing and Creative Cloud products at the same time if that's what you wish as well. A question from Daniel Bird. How does educational licensing work? Do all students need a Creative Cloud account? The answer to that question is yes, they do need the Creative Cloud account. So every user will need that subscription for Creative Cloud software. Question from Gary Stevens. In regard to preventing company data being saved to the cloud, how easy is that to limit centrally, and how is that done? This can be done via your company's firewall, and we can send you instructions on how to do that. So if you drop us an email, we can get back to you with the instructions on how to prevent cloud storage and cloud syncing. Question from Rebecca. Can the applications be supported in a virtualized environment? Yes, they can, and they can run in a virtual environment. They're still licensed the same way per user, and they are fully supported in a virtual environment to run that way. Question from Derek Tickle about CS6 being available to purchase outright, and how long will it be available? At the moment, Adobe, there's no plan to discontinue CS6 being purchased via perpetual licensing, so you can still purchase it outright if that's what you wish.
Regarding Acrobat versions within CC, as far as I'm aware, we will always make sure that the current version of Acrobat will be available through the cloud whenever the next one comes out. Acrobat also has a whole other level of services attached to it, which you may want to purchase additionally depending on what your needs are regarding forms and all sorts of good stuff like that. But Acrobat itself, Acrobat Pro, as far as I'm aware, will always be the most up-to-date via the cloud.
Another question, we are not from Kanhan. We are not designed organization, and most of our Adobe products are for Acrobat. There are a few requirements for the creative web applications, CS5, CS6, but not much. How will Creative Cloud work for us going forward, as we are considering options to try and sync our various multiple versions of Adobe products up to the latest version? As we explained, the Acrobat hasn't moved over to subscription, but you can purchase the latest version via perpetual, and the latest version will be available in the Creative Cloud for Teams full suite. If you do want to stay up to date with the latest and greatest software with regards to the creative side of things, then you'll need to take advantage of moving over to the cloud. CS6 will be the latest version you can purchase via perpetual licensing. However, if you do enjoy the features of CS6, then CS6 and the Creative Cloud apps are both available for use in the Creative Cloud for Teams purchase. A question from Scott Nicholson: are there any discounts on number of users for government? There's no sort of discounts for regards to government pricing. However, there is a government apps scheme where if your users are behind a firewall and cannot access the internet, then there is a government apps which we can go into further detail if you want to give us some give us an email, drop us a call, and we can go into further detail about the government apps. Okay, so a few of you have asked for the pricing table again. What we can do is we're going to be sending out a copy of this presentation to you all, so you'll be able to see the pricing structure. Question from Sue Drinkwater about adding seats via bytes. Just want to clarify the process. So if you're already not a member of the Creative Cloud for Teams, then if you give us a call, then we can run through the process for you, but it's very simple. We would assign you up onto our reseller and invite you to join the Creative Cloud for Teams. Once you accept the terms and conditions, then you'll have access to your own administration portal, which Iona briefly went through. From there, you can add the number of seats you wish to purchase, and then you request this to purchase those seats to bytes. There's a button right at the bottom hand corner of your console, and that will go through to us. And from then, you can instantly assign the users the software that they need. A question from Scott Nicholson: are there any plans to include Captivate in Creative Cloud in the future? Iona, I wonder if you could answer that, if you know.
We've not been told of any plans as yet. I wouldn't rule anything out, but as far as I know, not yet. We've got products like InCopy has now become part of CC, so what it really requires is for a product to become quite a core product within the creative offering. But I don't know as yet whether Captivate will make that step into the cloud.
Also, I don't know if you know there's a time frame on Acrobat becoming a single app purchase in the cloud. That's a question from Paul Westcott.
As to when it's going to be available as a single app?
Yeah, it's Paul's asking, is there a time frame on Acrobat being available as a single app purchase?
I don't know that, I'm afraid.
Okay.
In terms of installing the software on multiple machines, this is a question from Rob. He says, can you install on as many machines as you'd like and then manage usage by enabling and revoking licenses? Rob, the way the license works is that users can have the software installed on 2 different machines at any one time. And the software is installed on the machine, and it's kind of the access to that software that you need to enable by logging into the Creative Cloud into your membership. So in theory, you can have all of your machines loaded up with all of the software, but people will need to log into their accounts to access the products that have been allocated to them.
Okay, question from Lorraine Smith. Is it possible to monitor software usage through the admin console? So I could revoke a subscription if someone was not using their software. Unfortunately, as far as I know, that you're not able to monitor software usage. You can monitor their cloud storage. However, if you're asking to monitor if they're using Photoshop or Illustrator, we can't monitor what software they're actually using, no.
Yeah, that's correct.
Question from Brian. Yeah, the educational pricing, there isn't a cut-off date as there is for the commercial, so education pricing is completely different. So give us a call if you want to run through that. I think I've already answered this one, but from Derek Tickle, how long would Adobe CS6 be available to buy as a standalone purchase? There is no timescale, and Adobe haven't given the timescale of when it will be end of life, but it is still available for purchase, yes. Question from Alistair. When will we be having visibility of pricing beyond the initial half-year buy-in, 1 to 2 year buy-in period? And are Adobe putting any controls limits on maximum annual price increases going forward? I can answer the first question for you. After the promotion at the end of August, the price will revert back to the original promotion price that Adobe set, which was £38 per month per user, and that will run up until the start of next year, but that doesn't include a lock-in price at all for the second year. And as far as we know, from the start of next year, the price will go up to the standard price, which is currently £53 per user per month, which is £638 per year. I don't know of any controls or limits being put on place for annual price increases going forward at all. Iona, are you able to clarify that at all?
No, we haven't had any announcements along those lines. But just to say, really, Adobe is very much committed to offering a value package with the cloud. It's not interested. We are not interested in suddenly hiking the prices beyond what's good value to our customers.
Another question from Sunil: is 100 gig the maximum storage available? At the moment, yes, it is. It's 100 gig per user for the Creative Cloud for Teams full suite, and 20 gigs per user for the individual single app purchases. There isn't any updates on whether you could buy additional storage if that's what you need. However, things are constantly changing in regards to the cloud, so I'll just say keep your ears open if that does change.
Yeah, currently it's only an option within the enterprise environment to have flexible amounts of storage, but as Luke said, you know, things are developing daily, so it wouldn't surprise me if that becomes an option for the team offering as well.
A question from Sarah Newton. If I have a user who leaves 9 months and their license is no longer required, do we receive a credit back for the remainder of the year? What you can do with that license, Sarah, is publish it out to another user. So you can revoke it from the user that leaves and then give it out to a user that may require it. There's no sort of credit refund for revoking any of the licenses before your year subscription ends. Regards to data being stored, a few questions on this. How can users collaborate, share if you have switched off the storage and sync facility due to the secured nature of the client? And another question, is the data stored in the cloud encrypted and secure?
There's another question a little earlier as well, which we can cover in this. In which country is the cloud storage located? And that will be Dublin for Europe. And it's using the Amazon encryption and storage services, so we can share information regarding the encryption and also the backup systems that they have in place. But absolutely, it is encrypted and secure, and as I say, we can provide you with the details around that. In terms of collaborating and sharing, you obviously, in order to share a file, you need to upload it to the cloud. Now, you don't need to have the desktop sync functionality turned on in order to upload a file to the cloud. You can just do that by dragging and dropping it into the browser, into your file storage area. You then select that file and you can enable that to be downloaded by a specific person. You can send them the download link, and they can also add comments, and you can communicate and collaborate in that way. But it would require a file to be uploaded to the cloud to start with. Otherwise, your option is email.
Another question, can we install third-party application extensions with Creative Cloud applications? The answer to that question is yes. You'd have to check with that third-party application if they are compatible with Creative Cloud applications, but yes, there are applications out there that are compatible with Creative Cloud.
Yeah, absolutely, and just while we're on that as well, when it comes to plugins and third-party extensions, etc., you've got the option to hold off on updating your application. So you can purchase the cloud and you can run CS6 to start with if you know that all of these extensions are working and the plugins are working, etc. And then the point at which these plugins become available for the CC version of the apps and so on, you'll be able to then switch over to the CC apps, and then in future you can update those apps as and when it's relevant. So as and when you know that the plugins have been tested and they're all working correctly, at that point you can then roll out the updates. And you can also go back to previous major release points within those applications as well. For example, if you find that there's an issue with one of the updates that you've done in a plugin, you can then go back to a previous version.
A question from Scott Nicholson, can you manage different teams and licenses within the same organization? Yes, you can manage different teams. So if you have different departments that have a number of different users, you can manage them in one central console. They would each team would need their own VIP agreement number, but it will be placed under one admin person, and then they can have a drop-down list of what teams that they can see. So to answer your question, yes, this can be done. If this is something you want to discuss further, then we can go into that as well. If an enterprise customer and you purchase additional subscriptions within the term, will these be co-terminated or will these have a different start and end dates? Enterprise agreements are over a 3-year period, so you can true up within those periods and then pay for those additional licenses that you add. But yes, they will all co-terminate at the end of your 3-year subscription.
The next question in from Jennifer. If somebody's, for someone already on CS6, is there a trial period for a marketing department to try it out? There's a 30-day trial period, free trial period for all of the Adobe products, and that includes the Creative Cloud. So absolutely, you can try it out for a month. Users can sign on as individual users, and you can test that out for a month and see how you get on.
There's a question from Stefan. Can users be linked into Active Directory accounts? At the moment, there's no LDAP integration at this time. But as I said before, things are changing, so we'll be able to give you updates on that as and when it becomes available.
We know for sure that's going to be on the roadmap for the enterprise version of the software. I'm not sure as to the timescales they're working on this at the moment. And again, as Luke says, you know, with regards to the team options, we're not sure as to whether that will become a part of that or at what point. But yeah, watch this space.
Question from Daniel Bird. Do education customers get any Creative Cloud storage per user? Yes. So the answer is that they get the same storage and collaboration features as a corporate customer would. If you're licensed in that way, they just get the cheaper pricing. Question from Column. Can you see file versions in the cloud? Yes, when you download this software, you get the options to see if you want to download version 6 or the latest version, which is a Creative Cloud app.
This may be relating to actual files that you've got stored within there. And yes, we do have versioning control and monitoring of your files, particularly when it comes to collaboration. So do watch your space. That's on its way to you as well.
With regards to purchasing licenses via the UK, there's a question from Danielle, for people in our Swiss office to use. Yes, you can do this. There is restrictions obviously on worldwide sort of licensing, but as Bytes we can fulfill worldwide purchasing. So if you give us a call, we can go into that further. And I think that's the end of the questions. Thank you for all joining the webinar. As I said before, this the whole webinar will be sent out, the recording will be sent out to everyone that's attended and everyone that couldn't attend. Thank you to Iona for joining us as well, and thank you for your time.
Thanks, everybody.